It's the 919 Beer Podcast. I'm Joe Ovies from 99.9 The Fan. The guy in the middle is Adam Eshbaugh, the dude that looks like Scott Van Pelt with the headphones on. That's Wayne Holt from 919 Beer. We're doing things a little bit differently today. We're actually recording the podcast live through StreamYard. And if you catch it live, cool. We appreciate that. We're just kind of shoot the breeze here about a variety of beer topics in the last week or so that we need to get to. And then obviously we'll have the podcast available on your normal podcast channels. Big thanks to House of Hops for sponsoring the 919 Beer Podcast. They got 24 beers on tap. They've got curbside pickup. You can go in the store. They got all the COVID protocols in place. You can order online, pick up there too. It's just a great spot with a ton of variety. And my personal favorite thing is you walk in, take a little something of each, a little, get a stout, get a lager, get a hazy bro if you want
Pilsner.
to. They got, yes, or Pilsners. You can do all those things at House of Hops. They got 3 locations, 2 in Raleigh, 1 on Glenwood, the other one on Wake Forest Road, not too far from the radio station, and the other one is in Pittsburgh. So part of the reason why we're doing the beer podcast live through StreamYard today is because, Adam, you're at the beach. You're in Outer Banks, aren't you?
This is not my living room. No. I'm hotel life tonight.
You're actually in my brother-in-law's neck of the woods. I was literally there on Saturday to celebrate my nephew's 10th birthday. He's not there. He doesn't leave his house. He doesn't leave his house. I don't believe you. You have to understand. I was there because he won't come here. We drove up for the day. So anyway,
did a day trip here? Back that
yeah,
night?
man. Hey, my rule is: can we stay at that location longer than it takes for the total amount of driving time? So it takes us about 6 hours round trip to get from here to their house, thanks to the 64 bypass, and we were there for about 7.5 hours.
That's a long day.
It was a long day. I earned my beers that day. Let's just put it that way. I earned my beers which we'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, you're out on the Outer Banks because you're slanging some beers out by the beach, aren't you?
Beer selling. So as we've talked about, beer releases, beer sales, like a lot of it's seasonal, especially here in the Outer Banks. So people don't really come to the Outer Banks year round. It's a seasonal thing. It starts mid-May through mid-September.
We'll get back to that in a second, but continue because I think that changed in the pandemic, but we'll get back to that.
Well, yes and no. So
right.
Anyway, the big selling season is now.
Okay.
Actually started a few weeks ago. It's now until if you aren't here by next week, you've missed the boat pretty much.
Okay.
On selling beer to the Outer Banks. So that's what we're doing. We're
because you're there now.
I'm sorry. What'd you say, Wayne?
Because you're there now. So if they're not already there, you're gonna cover it, right?
That's right. I got it all taken care of. It's all locked down. But we left Raleigh this morning, went up to Corolla, and kind of worked our way down, staying in Kill Devil Hills. We have a few more places to hit tomorrow, and then we'll head back home.
Okay.
Are you staying at a hotel there? Or?
When you're talking North Carolina coast, you have the Outer Banks, and then you have the places where most North Carolinians go, which is south of the Outer Banks, right? We usually tend to go like Topsail south.
Okay.
Down to Southport, that area, which is not quite as, I don't want to say it's not as seasonally driven, but it's not as just summer focused.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. So we can hit those kind of throughout the year and throughout the summer. But the Outer Banks, really, a lot of these guys like to set their menus early, and that's what they have for the summer because they get so busy in the summer they don't want to have to worry about decision making throughout.
Did Will Cooper at Coronado allow you to have a tap at Fish Heads in
Naxon? Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
Okay, because I know he's very protective of all the Coronado taps that are at Fish Heads.
I know. You know what? I had him on the podcast just so he would allow me that one tap at Fish Heads. So
it didn't work out?
It'll work out.
Okay, hopefully it works out. Well, What's interesting about, and Wayne, you could probably speak to this too because you're in the whole home building business. So I was there on Saturday to go see my brother-in-law and niece and nephew and my sister-in-law. Shout out to Amy. And I went to I don't know if you guys experienced this or not. I got no problem selling at my brother-in-law because it's not like he's going to watch this podcast or listen to it. But my brother-in-law is the classic case of you show up, he only has so much beer, right? Like even though he knew I was going to be there and Kelly and I will drink, he had like a 6-pack of Dogfish Head.
But he knew you
right?
were leaving that day, so that was the responsible thing to do, so you could drive home without worry.
No. He did that because he knew I would go get more beer.
Oh.
That's why he did that. I know my brother-in-law better than you do.
He knows his audience.
He knows his audience. So when I got there, they live not too far from Chips, Wine, Beer, and Cigars, I think is the name of it. Anyway, it's a bottle shop that serves a lot of wine, a lot of beer there in Kill Devil Hills. And I noticed that they were kind of like, not cleared out, but the selection wasn't what I'm used to seeing at this time of the year. Because you got to remember, we go there during the dead time, not the season, as you mentioned. And I said, man, it seems a lot busier before the season starts up. He goes, dude, the season never stopped. And apparently, and I've read about this, but it was interesting to actually talk to somebody who actually is living it, in that with the pandemic and remote work, people said, screw it. The market was such that we could go in, buy houses at the time.
Yes.
And then people just basically created home bases during the pandemic to work from wherever. It's like, why work here when I can work in the Outer Banks and I can use this as an investment property going forward? So it was March 20th when I was there, and he said that it had already doubled their sales. And they were already on track when the season was over to like double or triple what they had seen the year before, because the season never ended. Now that for them, now, a lot of the local restaurants shut down too, because otherwise you wouldn't, that's how it usually works out there. It's like you work the season and then the restaurants aren't open in the off season because you've made your money and you just hibernate for a while. So it's been interesting to see the change in the Outer Banks because of those pandemic purchases. And Wayne, I know whether people are buying new houses or renovating new houses, the other aspect of this is people have just said, I'm going to go to a cool spot that's got some cool things to do and I can work remotely and then just go enjoy the scenery or enjoy the life there.
Yeah, it's not just there. I've got a cousin
Wayne,
who's got a house up on
Wayne muted himself.
Pico.
Wayne, what happened?
Nothing.
Where'd you go?
Are we on the satellite?
I haven't done anything.
Wait a minute, I can't hear anybody now.
Yeah, it's a satellite.
What happened?
What? You can't hear us?
I can't. You guys talk. I can't hear anything.
So Wayne and I can hear each other.
Hello.
Yo, Wayne, I can hear you just fine.
Adam, you've always been my favorite anyway.
I know. I really appreciate that.
What
Joe was saying though is really interesting, because we were talking to I forget which account we were at, and I guess legally I probably shouldn't even mention it, but she said that
she said
from county officials that in Dare County, which is where I am right now, like over 25,000 new residents had come in this year. And what they think that is a lot of people from like New York, mid-Atlantic states have just said, you know what, we can work remotely. Let's just go there. Like, this is where we want to be. So it's really interesting. And to add to that, what's really going to be difficult and interesting for these people, these accounts throughout this late spring and into the summer, is a lot of the international help that they're used to getting from Jamaica and places in Europe that students come over and work for the summer. They're not getting that help right now. So you're looking at a kind of a perfect storm here of folks that are used to having having extra help for the summer, not getting it. They got it last year, but they didn't really need it because of the pandemic. Now you've got people, since things are kind of loosening up a little bit, you've got people that are ready to make up for lost time with last year, and they're ready to really go all out on vacation, spend a lot of money, go out every night, have a good time. And these restaurants, bars, and places might not have the staffing to accommodate. And these accounts are really concerned about that. It was really interesting talking to them throughout the day today because of that.
Yeah, I think there's probably other reasons as well that they don't have people working, even locally. I've seen help wanted signs and restaurants and bars and breweries, and I think a lot of it still has to do with where we're at with the pandemic and some of these, not so much the stimulus checks, but certainly the unemployment uplift that the federal government has provided. There's a lot of folks that can make more money sitting at home with the state unemployment and the federal government unemployment than they can going to work. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that's the right thing to do, but I can say, wow, if you've lost money from the pandemic and you can make more by not going to work, man, that's a hard decision. It's hard not to, I guess. So I think we're going to have labor issues. Even in the construction side, we're having tremendous labor issues. Of course, prices are out of sight on materials, but from a labor, man, we've been short labor even before the pandemic, and now it's even worse. So, yeah, I guess we've lost Joe altogether. I don't see him, don't hear him.
I mean, we can really make this our own podcast. We've got 99.9 stream going. We can do whatever we want. This is our time, Wayne.
Well, it's funny,
look, we've trained for this for 7
if you are you seeing the same thing, that our mouths and the video and the audio are not matching up because you stop talking and I keep hearing.
No, I'm like perfectly in sync. I'm right there.
But when I talk,
you're delayed
because you start talking. Right, so you're delayed. Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so we're both delayed. It's a little bit hilarious.
Well,
hey, Joe,
you're getting a delay from me, and Joe's not even present right now. Anyway, like the whole point was, like, today we hit all these places, and the number one thing I was hearing though was, hey, we're scheduled to open next week or within the next few weeks, and we don't know if we're gonna have the staff to do it. Hey, Joe's back.
Hi.
You got to figure it out there, bud.
Yeah, the power beats are being weird, man. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
technology. Well, no, part of it is I don't know if my new phone is messing with the Bluetooth it wants to connect to and all that stuff. My older son is turning 13, and his 13th birthday gift was my old phone. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, what are you enjoying there? I see that looks like a liquor drink.
It is. So for my birthday, my dad.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, by the way.
Thanks for remembering.
42. Never looked so good.
This is why I don't like doing video podcasts, man. I don't know. I don't like it. No, so
look at Adam.
Exactly.
So my dad,
McDonald's hairline's covered up.
So my dad, I guess he was making good on his Christmas, the Christmas gift that he got for me that I was very confused by. Did I tell you the Christmas story?
No.
Okay. All right. So real quick story. So
Christmas story.
So this goes.
Get a Red Ryder BB gun.
All things come back to the Ranch Water podcast. Simple as that. So because we made
got to do that one again.
Because we made Ranch Water, my dad, for whatever reason, was like, "Oh, you're like mixing drinks and stuff like that now." So I'm like, "No, Dad. All I'm doing is combining tequila, seltzer, and lime. Like, this is not fancy.
Not seltzer. It's Topo Chico.
Or Topo Chico. This is not cocktail. I'm not doing the Kokomo or any of that stuff. So for Christmas, he got me a Tommy Bahama shirt. All right.
Now, there's nothing wrong. That's when you know you're 42.
Right.
Jeez.
A button down. Now there's nothing. Now look, there's nothing wrong with a Tommy Bahama button down shirt. And initially, when I unboxed it, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can wear this to the pool, whatever." Right? It was like a nice, like cream colored shirt. But then I looked at the back, and the back had like this embroidered imagery of a bar. And it said, "I make poor decisions" on it. Get it?
Poor is accurate. R.
Right.
Puns.
And I looked at my dad. I go, "Dad, I love you, but what makes you think that I would wear this?" And it's also a Tommy Bahama shirt, so they're not cheap.
No.
Right? They're not cheap.
It's like $80 and up.
Up. Because I looked it up.
Oh, you Googled it, huh?
Yeah, we'll go with up. Anyway, someone's like, oh, I screwed up. I'm like, look, it's fine. Like, I'll exchange it for like another Tommy Bahama shirt. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I'll take it back and I'll get you something else for your birthday. I'm like, fine. So he noticed that the last time they were here, he noticed all the bourbon that I've started to acquire, which again gets back to another podcast when we did the Pappy podcast over at Wayne's house.
Yeah.
So I've been like slowly but surely trying different things because, as we talked about, you get a little bored with beer from time to time, so you try new things. And one of those things has been, I'll be cliche and I'll try the bourbon. So I've picked up like Basil Hayden. I've tried the Basil Hayden rye that's been finished in port casks, which is a pretty good after dinner drink. I've picked up
qualifying his bourbon choices now.
What's that?
I said you're qualifying your bourbon choices. Like, right. I prefer this one after dinner. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I just come home after a rougher
right
recording, and I need this one.
It's exactly it, right? So I've become a cliche. So my dad, I guess he read some article about the Jim Beam family, and I guess the 7th generation. They've got, what is it, Brookers or Bookers? Bookers.
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
It's hot.
Yes, it is. I actually had to cut this one down with some ice because I was like, woo.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so he got me that for my birthday. This was like the pigskin something, which they had just released, I guess, last year. And he had to like, he gives me this big story about ordering it from California and everything else because it's a pain in the butt. Just like Kelly was trying to find me the Blantons, which apparently has become a pain in the ass to find around here too. You can't find Blantons, right? So Kelly felt, I appreciated the effort. I really did. And I was like, oh man, that stinks. But yeah, they've gotten really, really difficult to find. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking tonight. This
should have called me.
Well, next time.
I've got one.
Okay. Of course you do. But so anyway,
you hear that thump? Wayne just laid it out on the table.
He did.
I don't mean the Blantons.
I mean, I was gonna say Wayne's got the horse on the cap. On the cap.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. He's got the horse on the cap. No, so anyway, I know I missed a good chunk of the Outer Banks conversation before I had.
We were mainly just talking about you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. It's no big deal.
No, we were talking about staffing issues out here. It's a very interesting time, and it's going to be a very interesting summer. And my public plea for anyone who heads anywhere this summer is to have some patience, have some grace, and realize that everyone's trying to catch up. No matter where you're going, you're going to find that just because you want to be out and you're going to expect certain things, it might not be exactly like you want it to be, because there's some staffing shortages specifically here in the Outer Banks. It's all any of our accounts we're talking about today. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And it's not just the Outer Banks. I mean, it's here as well. I mean, it's everywhere we go. I mean, I just left Firebirds for dinner right before I came on here. And you look around and everybody's understaffed. Everybody's scrambling. And people don't have patience, Adam. And you know that. You're in the hospitality. You're in a front line. I just get to see it from the other side of the counter. And sometimes it just amazes me on the things that people will say to the bartender or the hostess, the waitress or whatever. It's just amazing to me that at this stage, after what we've been through for a year, that we haven't gained any patience in how we deal with people. You know what? We all want to be out. Be nice.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, what's interesting, and I guess we can get to some of the news of the week here in North Carolina. But the Governor Roy Cooper.
I mean, Adam.
What's that?
I thought we were talking about Adam winning the label.
Such news.
Is that? I was going to say, is that out?
Right?
Out? Is that out?
Did win. We just advanced to the popular vote now.
Is that? But is that out actually?
It came out yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was out or not. Okay, well,
I don't. You guys said you did a recording. I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, they haven't put out the recording yet?
Maybe they did, but I didn't see it.
Okay, well, I have it. So
the NC Brewers Guild just put it out on on Instagram.
So they just put out the finalists. Then.
They put out the 16 or whatever.
Okay, so for context purposes,
12.
Wayne and I were asked to take part in North Carolina Craft Brewers Guild Label Insanity, a little bit of a play on March Madness, and we judged 4 different categories, and we ended up getting one that included a mason jar. It was for the Luchador, right? And knowing that Luchador was in, Wayne and I were hell bent on not giving you the number 1 spot. We weren't. I mean, we just I tried my damnedest to find another label that could surpass the Luchador label. But Adam Gore, who helped us,
Aaron Gore.
I'm sorry, Aaron Gore. Sorry, Aaron. Aaron Gore. I know too many Adams in my life. So Aaron Gore made a point. Like, look, this was my number 1, and we had to relent because he's right. The Luchador was and it killed us. Like, we died inside awarding that the number 1 spot, Wayne.
Yeah, we did. But I want to give a big shout out to our friends at Full Steam, Sean Lilly Wilson and those guys, man. They won 3 of the 12.
3.
That was incredible.
And it wasn't even like any of their regular ones that I love. Like Paycheck and Southern Basil and like all of their like standard labels I love. These were like for their other beers. They're like limited releases.
Yep.
There are a lot of really cool labels that came through. Happy that I could have one that passed. That was cool. It was funny though, because you guys thought Pull Tab would, you guys both think Pull Tab's my best label. It didn't make it through. So, no matter how hard you tried, despite your best efforts, I still made it. And I'm glad I'm here to talk about it. And we make it through to another round, and now we leave it to the people to vote.
Gotcha.
That's true.
I just know we're out of the voting. We're out of the voting at this
You're
point.
You're out of the voting now.
We're done on that one.
But it was a cool thing, and I honestly, I'm glad the Brewers Guild decided to do this because, not that I'm not super proud of our beer or other breweries shouldn't be super proud of their beer. That's obviously our number 1 focus, but it's nice to get other things that we work on, like marketing and labels are certainly included in that that mix. It's kind of fun to have some other creativity, talked about.
I'm with you on that. All right, so to the other news, the less important news, I guess, that Luchador advanced. That's the number 1 topic.
Yeah,
but Governor Roy Cooper continues to ease restrictions on restaurants and bars, breweries, and outdoor seating capacity. I think has been increased to 100% of
whatever that means.
And that's the thing. So
what does that mean?
And that was my curiosity in talking to you, Adam, because I know from a sports perspective. I'll give you 2 examples. So in the easing of restrictions, you can have at sports facilities up to 50% capacity now. So PNC Arena can be at 50% capacity for Carolina Hurricanes games. Indoors.
Yeah. Okay.
Under these new rules.
That's great.
But here's the problem. It's not a simple math of, all right, PNC seats roughly 18,000 people, so you can fit 9,000 people in the building. That's not how it works.
Right.
Because you still have social distancing protocols that you have to adhere to and all the other things that go along with it. So that 50% really isn't a true 50%. It's whatever they can hold up to the 50%. And you're
it's
looking
really poorly worded. The whole thing is really poorly worded.
And we talked to Don Waddell, the president and general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes, on the radio show today, and I asked him about, all right, so what are you really looking at? What's a true increase for your games? And right now they speculate they're going to be able to increase it from roughly 3,000 people to about 4,500 people, which, I mean, okay, fine, a little bit of a bump, but it's not going to be,
what's their capacity, like 16,000?
I think for a hockey game, they can fit about 18.
Okay.
So,
like nowhere near 50%.
Yeah, it's like 18 and change, but because of those social distancing protocols, that's the thing. So the same applies to the Durham Bulls. So I talked to my people over at the Durham Bulls, and I asked them, I'm like, okay, is this good news? Like, what does this mean for you? And, look, we've all been to the DBAP plenty of times. And again, it comes down to a simple space problem. Yeah, okay, cool. We can go up to 50%, but there's only so much space that we can spread people out. And they're really going to be anywhere between 25 to 30% of their capacity, which, if you're the Durham Bulls, I mean, I've joked about this before, 25 to 30% capacity for the Durham Bulls is what you would get on a Tuesday night random game, you know?
So what you get for an Orioles game on like a Saturday.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. So there is a.
I can say that because I'm a fan.
There are some pluses. There are some pluses and minuses to this, and that was my curiosity with bars and restaurants and breweries. Okay, you like at Mason Jar, Adam, you've got your stuff all spread out the way you got to have it spread out. I've been there plenty of times. I mean, how much more can you do than you've already done?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. It is literally, and I don't mean this to be anything other than objective. I'm not being negative. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm grateful that this has happened, and this is a good thing. But in reality, we've put out as many tables outside in our outside area that we could fit that are appropriately spaced. And the spacing guidelines have not changed. So if he'd say 100% and spacing like schools has gone from 6 feet to 3 feet, that's a big difference, right? But that hasn't happened. We're still at 50% indoors. And honestly, that 50% indoors only works if you have maxed out your grouping. So if you have groups up to 6 people or whatever, then you can fit probably 50% indoors and make it. Otherwise, it's going to be less than 50% indoors. And the same thing outdoors. Once the tables are taken at my place, we're on a wait. That's just how it is.
Okay.
Because you still have to maintain those spacing guidelines. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying.
No. I think
it doesn't change, because I had several people text me yesterday saying, "Oh, this is great news." And I'm like, yes, but it doesn't change what we've been doing. It's not like I can fit 100 more people.
I think they meant No, I think what they meant, Adam, was the great news is that we can drink until 2 o'clock legally now, not 9 or 11.
And that's not going to happen in my place anyway. So
yeah, that's true too. Yeah, that was another. They lifted the 11 o'clock restrictions as well. So
they did, and
well, the restaurants
honestly, for local breweries, that's helpful, because hopefully more bars and restaurants will be able to stay open later and sell more of our products later into the evening, which will lead to more sales for us off premise.
Are the restaurants not open till 2 anymore? Because I love those late night Mason jar fries.
Ours aren't. We haven't been open until 2 for several years, because as our mothers always say, fries? Nothing good happens after midnight.
I think it's because of the fries.
Yeah, I think it's because of the fries too. I'm with you on that, Wayne. All right, so I'm glad you cleared that up, because I think there was a lot of confusion as to what this exactly meant. I'm sure there are some bars that are actually happy that they've increased the capacity. So it's good for bars. It's good for restaurants that might.
It's good for bars.
Yes.
It's good for bars.
Yes.
For restaurants and breweries, it really doesn't change a whole lot.
Yeah.
For bars, though, it does.
Okay.
But at the same time, I was reading an article, I think it was earlier this morning, that someone was interviewed, and she was like, "We don't have the staff right now. So we need." And I remember we went through this back in May when we were able to open back up. We gotta get our staff in place to make sure we can open, so that when people do show up, they're accommodated. Otherwise, they're showing up and they're angry, and we might not ever get them back again.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. Any other topics we got to hit before we get out of here? Anything? Wayne?
Right.
Nothing?
No topics for me, man. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Got these new headphones, guys.
Yeah, I got these sweet new headphones. I'm good to go.
I just had one of these. I had one of these fine JLAs.
JLA.
I see.
Man.
Highlight.
Yeah, it's funny. As far as beer is concerned, couple quick hits. Like we had some old neighbors that moved up to Richmond. They came back to visit, and they only
drink hazy IPAs now.
No, actually, they brought back the Hardywood Lager, the Richmond, and
we
that
can
comes
get
in.
that here, you know.
You can?
Yeah.
I've never seen that here.
Yeah, they have it in the stubby bottles.
Yeah, in the stubby bottle. I've never seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So again, I mean, I go to my places. I hadn't seen it yet, so that was cool. Pretty good. Actually, it was a funny conversation I had with my brother-in-law about. He's like, I can't drink PBR anymore because it's like too sweet or whatever it is. And I was like, well, that means you just got to go over to the craft beers where they make the craft lagers and pilsners. ...
Lager,
But
pilsners
and pilsners.
Yes.
And then I also introduced my sister-in-law to the Sierra Nevada, the kombucha, the hard kombucha.
Oh, the strange way,
the
or whatever.
Strange Beast or whatever
Strange
it's called.
Beast. That's what it is. Strange Beast.
Yeah, so because she's not a beer drinker.
Kombucha. It's kombucha. Did you say kombucha?
Kombucha?
Like
kombucha.
Camacho?
Yeah, I think so. Whatever. It's
Kombucha.
not stuff I drink. But anyway, I picked that up, and she was a fan of that. And I also know our friends over at Mother Earth just released like a new flavor pack of their Circe, the hard seltzer.
My wife is all in on Circe right now.
Kelly cannot get enough.
Can't
of
get
that stuff.
enough.
Now
maybe we need to have a Circe 919.
Do all right, so you want
beer,
female
Circe.
You want Bridget and Kelly to talk about Circe, and we just let it rip.
Bridge is all in on Circe.
Fair enough. Well, I ran into our friend Chris from New Belgium at Wegmans not that long ago, and he had. By the way, did you guys know he bleached his hair?
Oh my gosh, is it like Guy Fieri now?
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. He's got long bleached hair. It's pretty.
Why? There has to be a reason.
Honestly, I blacked out and I forgot because I was so in shock by his hair. Anyway, I guess New Belgium has also come out with another seltzer.
Okay.
And this it's called like Fruit Smash, I think it's what it's called. And this one's more of like a hard spindrift. So people have been up in the seltzer game, man. You got to take it seriously. And I know with Circe, Kelly's all about it. I know Bridge is all about it. And I got to try this Fruit Smash that
we
need
to do a Saturday night special at Joe's house.
All right, I'm down.
With Wayne, what do you think?
What do you think, Wayne?
Oh yeah, we just need to plan it properly.
Okay. All right.
But speaking of Saturday night, what about Friday night special at the Glass Jug on Friday night for their?
Shoot, I got to text Chris and make sure we can bring an extra.
Oh yeah,
I'll text him.
You guys won't see me.
What?
What? You're not coming?
No, I can't come.
You're bailing?
I never committed.
Dude.
I never committed.
Is Kelly still going?
Oh my gosh.
No.
Why?
We got things to do, man. We got things to do. We're getting out of town this weekend. There's hockey. We got stuff going on.
You're a sellout.
Total sellout.
Whatever.
Total sellout. So, for the record, I never.
Every loser's got a story, man.
That's just true. It's a fair point. So you guys have fun at Glass Jug without me.
I don't even know what to say to her right now. You committed last week. You're like, oh, can Kelly come?
I asked.
Like this was a conversation.
I never committed. I'm just saying.
Hey, Adam. Here's all I know is that now we know.
Here we are.
And good for you, Joe, for being an obedient husband.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was. I think Joe was like, man, I just don't feel like doing anything.
We can talk about it offline.
Kelly's not around, is she?
No, she's over there. Yeah, we'll talk about it offline. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of the ACC Panic Room. I call it the ACC Panic Room because this is where I do the ACC Panic Rooms. I actually feel like I'm doing an ACC Panic. You don't have enough hair, and your side eye isn't as good, but it's not. Brownlow's undefeated when it comes to the side eye. But that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of the 919 Beer Podcast. Big thanks to House of Hops with their 3 locations, 2 in Raleigh, 1 out in Pittsburgh. 24 beers on tap. We appreciate them sponsoring the 919 Beer Podcast. Go check them out. You can order online. They got curbside pickup, all that good stuff. And we'll see you all next week.
No, we won't.
Oh, that's right. We won't. We'll be
Joe's on vacation.
On vacation.
And why is Joe on vacation?
Getting out of town.
Because I get a lot of vacation.
Yeah,
that's why.
But the week after, we're coming back, and we're doing a cigar podcast. And
I'm very excited about that. I am very excited
with
about
that. Amendola Family Cigar out of Durham.
Should be a lot of fun. All right, we'll see you all.
Where are we going to do it? We're going to do it outside somewhere.
Yeah, we'll do it outside somewhere.
Yeah. Looking at a possible cocktail bar in Raleigh. Stay tuned.
Exciting. All right.